What's up everyone, this is Edmund Low here and welcome to my beginner's tutorial for OptimizePress, or to be exact, OptimizePress 3.0, which as of the time of this video, that's the latest version by this well-known page builder. So just to give you a quick background, I've been an internet marketer for many years. I've been selling products on the internet since 2005, and of course, as a digital marketer, having my own sales pages, my landing pages, my funnel pages, that's very, very imperative to me. And I think you would agree too if you're going to do digital marketing long term. So I've done a lot of websites, sales pages throughout the years. I started off with HTML. Back then, there was no such thing as page builders. And then at the start of the 2010s, page builders started to come up. You start hearing of page builders like OptimizePress, Insta pages, lead pages, ClickFunnels, and a lot more out there. But out of everything that I use OptimizePress the most. I would say that 90% of my websites are using this page builder, and I'm happy with it. I'm a happy camper. So I've been using them since the first time they were just known simply as OptimizePress, which today we know it as OptimizePress 1.0. At the time, the way to build OptimizePress pages was to use shorthand codes, and after that, it evolved into a drag and drop builder that's called OptimizePress 2.0. That was in 2014, and for the next 5 years up until 2019, they've been using the OptimizePress 2.0. They've been updating it, and we've been following ever since as well. So then came along OptimizePress 3, which is kind of like a long overdue update. This was towards the end of 2019, and as a long-time user of OptimizePress, I was really excited. And when it came out the first time, to my surprise, the features were underwhelming, but I understand that they were just rolling it out in stages. So at that point in time, I was looking for tutorials about OptimizePress 3.0, and there were very few tutorials even until now when I'm recording this. I also held off recording the videos because I knew that OptimizePress was rolling out new features one after another, so I waited for it to be substantial, and throughout the time I just got better at using it. So it is easy to use, it is simple, you don't need any prior technical knowledge or HTML, thankfully, but I just want to say that the way a lot of people build their pages with OptimizePress is quite, let's just say they don't really realize its full potential, and that's kind of why I'm compelled to do this beginner's tutorial. So it's not going to be a short few minutes. I'm going to do teach as much as I can in this training, so you not only know the ins and outs. Don't worry, it's nothing intimidating. It's something that you can follow. I'm going to walk you through on each of the key features of OptimizePress and how you can use it to build some nice, simple yet slick looking websites that is mobile responsive and yet professional at the same time. So all the good things rolled into one bundle. So you don't need any prior experience whatsoever. I'm guessing that you're either A, you have already bought OptimizePress, but you don't really know how to use it, or B, you're looking for a reliable page builder and maybe you heard about OptimizePress. So now, just to make a disclaimer, I do not work for them. I am my own independent marketer. However, I will wholeheartedly endorse them as an affiliate, and I'm speaking from a personal experience, right? So I'll include my link to OptimizePress if you choose to get it later in the description of this video, or maybe below this video. Okay, so you know what? I think that's enough introduction. Let's just get started. Now, before we begin, you need to make sure that you have these things in place. Number one is that you have already installed your own WordPress site and that you already have one. So for OptimizePress to work, you need to have WordPress. So it's a content management system. I'm not going to explain too much about it, but you need to have that ready first, because OptimizePress 3 is basically a plugin, and you need to install this plugin into WordPress for this whole thing to work. All right. So I'm not going to cover how to install WordPress and all that, because there are already many tutorials about it out there, and different web hosts will have a slightly different way of installing WordPress. So I'm not going to cover that. So step number one, make sure you already have your own web hosting account. You make sure you already have your own WordPress site, okay? So, and also important disclaimer, and when I'm talking about WordPress, I'm talking about you having your own domain, as in yourname.com. I'm not talking about a free subdomain site like yourname.wordpress.com. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, you need to have your own website, your own WordPress. Okay. Next, you need to get your own copy of OptimizePress 3.0. Again, if you haven't gotten it just yet, or you would like to get it after watching this video tutorial and want to see how this works, I'm going to include my link at the bottom of this video description. All right, and for those of you that already have OptimizePress 3, cool. So the next step is to upload the plugin and activate it, which again, I'm not going to show this because if you had already gotten your OptimizePress 3.0 plugin, they would have already shown you the instructions on how to set it up, which is rather simple. You don't need to even watch a video for that. It's actually quite simple, and they already explained how to do it. But here's the irony though. Even though OptimizePress 3 has their own tutorials on how to use the page builder, I've went through it, and it is surprisingly rudimentary, too basic. So maybe that's kind of why I'm compelled to do this video tutorial to show you the full ins and outs. And I'm going to put this all into this feature-length tutorial. All right, so you might want to save this video and you can also watch it later. Okay, so now that we have all this in place, let's get started for real. So I'm going to close this PowerPoint slide because what we're going to do here is we're going to do quite some hands-on demonstration. Now, I've already arranged all these steps neatly so that we don't leave any stone unturned. We're going to cover each and every one of this page builder method step by step. So these are all elements that we use to put into building pages like this. Okay, so this is one of my landing pages. And here's another landing page. This is for a webinar. I've also got sales pages, but I think you get the idea. Now, all this thing that you're seeing here right now, all these pages are built on OptimizePress 3. And I think we can agree that this looks rather good, okay? Simple yet professional. And maybe what you don't see right now is that these web pages are also mobile responsive, okay? Which I'll talk more about that a little bit afterwards. So I just want to show you what is possible when you're using a page builder like OptimizePress 3 to build nice pages like this. And again, the disclaimer here is that I am not a techie guy. My HTML skill is basic at best, and I'm still able to do this kind of nice looking pages. So if I can do it, I'm sure you can as well. And I'm going to show you how to do pages like this. Sounds good? Okay. So, and also as an extra assurance, what I'm going to do is that at the end of this video, I'm going to include all of this tutorial steps with their timestamp so that you can backtrack to any particular part and you won't miss anything out. So I hope this works out with you, and I hope you're as excited as I am. So I've built literally hundreds of pages with OptimizePress from the very beginning, including version 3 as well. It's a nice page builder. It's something I recommend to my clients. My entire team uses this as well. And I'll have you know that we're not webmasters or anything of that sort. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a base right now. So I already covered about, before getting started, you need to install WordPress, get your OptimizePress 3, upload plugin, and activate. So I'm going to just start from here. Now, when you log into your WordPress, you should be seeing something like this right now. Whether your WordPress is new or you have something going on, that's okay. And the cool thing about OptimizePress 3 is that it rarely ever interferes with other plugins that you install. But at the same time, just want to give you a heads up, where possible, do not install too many plugins because WordPress is a resource-intensive content management system. So I personally don't like to install a lot of plugins. Otherwise, it's going to take a long time to load. So I'm going to start from scratch, and we're going to try to recreate some of the landing pages that I have shown you just now, like this and like this. Okay, we're going to try to do something like that, and I'll show you each and every step of the way. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just increase the zoom size so that it's easier for you to take a look at what I'm seeing on the screen right now. So yeah, it's as good as watching over my shoulder, okay? So on the left menu here, okay, imagine this is your own WordPress admin right now. You should be logged in, and you will go to OptimizePress 3, and let's just take a look at the settings first, all right? Let's just take a look at the settings first, and again, I'm assuming that you're a brand new newbie. You're using this brand new for the first time. So if you have just installed this, now frankly speaking, there's not a lot for you to do. Okay, general, you can skip this. Let's go to social networks. Okay, you can skip this. Recaptcha. You can skip this. So that's actually not really a lot of things for you to do here, really. Okay. Now, by default, you're going to see that the enable promotion backlink is going to be turned on. And what's going to happen is that all your pages will have this thing showed at the footer of your site called Powered by OptimizePress, which, well, I don't think that's a good thing to do. I don't think you should do that, so I want you to turn this off, okay? You don't want to be putting any link at Powered by OptimizePress at the bottom of all your web pages. It's not nice, so just turn it off, okay? Don't forget to save. And let's go to scripts and styles. You can ignore this. You can ignore this. And yeah, you can ignore it. So the only thing you got to do here is just go to affiliates and make that little change. That's about it. So next up, okay, integrations. Now this is more towards the advanced side, which I'm not going to cover that right now because, like I said, this is a complete beginner's tutorial. I'm not going to talk about this, but if you are using autoresponders like Aweber, like that's what I do, you can go here to click on add new integration and integrate it. So that's more on the advanced side, but right now I would advise you to leave this out, okay? So let's get started for real. Let's click on create new page. You can click here, or you can go to the menu on the left and click create new page under OptimizePress 3. So one of the cool things about OptimizePress is that they've given you a lot of templates that you can work with. In fact, when I first learned OptimizePress 3 on my own, it was actually self-explanatory and self-intuitive. So what I did initially was I just picked one of the templates and I just edit from there to get a better understanding. It's something you can do as well, but in this exercise, we're going to start with a blank template or a blank slate. So we're just going to go with a blank template like so. So click on a blank template. If you click preview, well, there's nothing to really preview other than seeing these three little things here. I want to find something more clean and actually, like something really, really empty. Just hang on for a while. Yeah, but as you can see here, there are a lot of templates you can choose from. If you want sales pages, there's some nice templates you can work from. Thank you pages, landing pages, webinar pages. A lot you can choose from. So if you don't really know how your page should look like, you can use this for ideas, okay? But anyways, let's go to blank template. So I'm just going to use this, right? Use this, click on use this template, and you can give it a name, all right? Now, I don't really like to use the word task, so I'm just going to give it a proper name, but of course you can give it any name you want. So in this case, I'm just going to call it, you know what? Business Wealth Webinar. I'm just making it up, all right? I already have something like this going on, but in this video, I'm just going to give you a simple demonstration. Okay, Business Wealth Webinar. Bear in mind that whatever you write here is going to appear at the top of the browser here. Okay, you can change the name afterwards, definitely. Post type page, that's true. And let's click create page. That's it. Nothing much to talk about here. So what's happening right now is that it takes several seconds for the page builder to load. So this might take a while, where you need to actually be present on this page to see this whole thing being loaded. And there we go. So right now we can start creating the new page and we can start editing from here. Okay, so initially it might seem a little bit overwhelming, but rest assured, as you start creating more pages, you will get more practice. So if you ever want to preview how the page will look like, but let me just tell you something though, this page is not published yet. So what this means to say is that you're the only one who can preview right now. And I think to me, what's more important is that you want to make this page something that is live. And don't worry, no one else knows about it, only you, okay? So what we're going to do is that we're going to go to the first place called settings at the top menu here. Let's click on settings. And you don't have to do anything here. You can go to page status, click publish. And if you want to give it a description, you can. But personally, I normally leave this out. It's not so important. Click to publish. And yes. Okay. So it's published at the moment, but we're not done yet. So what we're going to do next is we go to the next tab called page background. By default, it's white color. I would leave it alone. But let's say if you want to change the color, you can click here. And you can choose any color that you want. All right. Don't worry about this white spot here. This basically means you're just adding the segment. All right. So you can change colors, but personally, I prefer white because it's the easiest on the eyes. Black text over white background is usually the best. Okay. compared to like white text over black background. It's kind of reminiscent of those porn websites. So unless you're going for that look, I don't think you should do it, all right? So I'm going to leave it as white. Unless you have a very specific color code, you can add it here as well. You can also change the opacity, which is like the transparency level, which I'm not going to do it. I think this is what I like. I'm going to click done, okay? So whenever you have any changes you want to save, just click save. And then you can continue, all right? Now, next up, headline typography. Now, I'm going to say this is very, very important. Why I go to the settings first before I actually edit anything. Because let me just give you a quick example by going to this page over here. So whenever you write a sales page or a landing page, you're going to realize that quite some things remain the same, like the colors, the font sizes for the headlines, and the font sizes for the normal text. They're all quite standard. Okay? Now, let's just say you don't like this size. You want to change it. So rather than you change the headlines sizes one by one by one, what you can do is that you can change the headline settings over here, and it will reflect on every part in this page. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Why I'm very particular about formatting, so that if you ever need to make changes, you can just change it from one place rather than editing every single element. Okay, so first of all, let's go with the font family. And I have to say that compared to the previous version of OptimizePress, there's a lot of fonts here. Between the standard fonts and the Google fonts, there's so many for you to choose from, and it's a long list. Now, I'm not going to get into like the design language or anything like that, because that's going to take a long time. But as you can see, there's a lot of fonts. If you know the name of the font, you can just type it in here. It's so much easier. So right now, I'm just going to go with Able. All right, the easiest, Able. Again, it's up to you what kind of font size you want, or what kind of font face that you like. But as a general rule of thumb about web design, it's better to use just one or maximum two different fonts on the same page. You don't use too many different fonts, otherwise it's just going to look like those GeoCities websites from the 1990s and things like that. That's why some pages look quite amateurish, when it's too colorful, or there's a poor choice of colors, or when the font face is so different, okay? So let's just go with Able for simplicity's sake. And the font weight, it's either normal or bold. We'll just leave it at bold. Okay, color, you can leave it as it is. Like this is black color, which is fine with me. But if you want to change to other color, you can go ahead. Okay, so I think this is good enough. And I want to just right click, copy. And I'm going to save it for afterwards, because I want to use this color in the long run. Okay, so that's the headline for you. Let's go to body. So body typography means the standard text that you normally read, the normal words, all right? So I'm just going to go with Able again. Font size 16. I think 16 is okay, but you can increase to like 18 to 20 even, all right? But I'm just going to go with 18, because when the font size is slightly bigger, it's easier for people to read. And it's also down to knowing who your target audience is. Like for example, most of my audience are middle age and above. So they normally appreciate if the fonts are easier to read, especially on a phone. So I'll put it at 18 pixels. The color is still black, same color. I'm going to leave it at that. And next thing we're going to go as page scripts. Now this is all to the advanced side. I'm not going to cover the rest. Page scripts, custom CSS, export template, and revisions. These are places I don't even bother looking at. It's quite good enough. Page scripts, if you're using Google Ads or Facebook Ads, this is where you would paste the scripts. Maybe like the conversion tag. This is where you're going to put it, either in the header or the body. I'm not going to cover that right now. This is more of like advanced tutorial, but there you go. So as far as settings go, we're done. And let's not forget, let's have a habit of saving. Okay, so go to the top right, click on save. So let's see what we have done so far. We have covered how to create a new page and how to edit typography settings. Okay, so next up, I'm going to talk about sections, rows, and columns. So if you are brand new to page building, or especially in the case of OptimizePress 3, you can basically see that websites or web pages are divided into three parts. A section, which is the whole part, and then followed by the row, and then the columns. So initially when you do it for the first time, it might seem a little bit confusing, But the more you do it, the more you start seeing a distinction. So, and I think the best way to do it is to actually just demonstrate it, and I'll just show you as it is. Now, there's nothing else you can do right now except to just add a new section. That's the only way you can get started. So let's click on add new section, and they already ask you to choose your column layout. So for simplicity's sake, again, let's just choose the simple one column layout, all right? So what's happened here is that now we have an entire section. We've got a row here, and then we have a column. So how do we know what are we selecting right now? Is that if you look at the top here, this is an indicator of where you're at right now. If you're selecting the column or on a row level or a section level. So if you have used the previous OptimizePress 2 or maybe other types of page builders, you might not have seen this kind of arrangement before. So it takes a while to see the distinction. I didn't catch it the first time when I was editing it, but the more I did it, the more I knew what was going on, okay? So again, this whole thing we're selecting is a section level. If you select this, this is the row, and this is the column, okay? So now rows are basically those horizontal, sorry, not horizontal, this basically the rows like section by section or row by row. So yeah, that's kind of how it works, all right? Now, if you want to add another column, so what you're going to do is that, you know, sometimes you see like 2 columns or 3 columns. So what you do is that at the top left, you click on the plus, and you can click column and drag it here, all right? Once you drag it here, so this is a drag and drop builder, you drag it here, and now you see that you have 2 columns, all right? And if you want to adjust the length, you can just move your mouse to the middle and just drag it like so. So it's quite responsive. You can drag it anyhow you want. And if you don't want this column here, you can just select it, click on this rubbish bin icon, delete element, and we're done. And if you don't want to do that, or you want to take that back, you can click on this thing called undo, and you can undo maybe the next 2 or 3 more steps, all right? Now, this is just in case, and that's kind of why I always recommend that you always save your work regularly. So this is how a section, row, and column work. Now, we'll be doing more sections and rows and columns throughout the throughout this tutorial for it to make more sense. But there's one thing very imperative I want to share with you, and that's how to adjust the spacing. This is something that a lot of people don't really pay much attention to, and it kind of ticks me off personally. I do not know whether I've got ADHD or I'm just obsessed with the details. You see, when you start building this kind of like pages, right, people don't really mind their spacing. So if you see here that there's a certain padding here, okay? Right now it's at 75 pixels, that's totally fine. But you want to put up some respectable space. So I'm just going to show an example of what I did here. And as you can see here, that there's a little bit of space between the top and the bottom. So is this one, and so is this one, and so on. All right, because if you don't put any spacing, it's going to look very cramped. And if the space is too wide, then it's going to look too far apart. And it might not look very well on mobile, which I'm going to talk a bit about that afterwards, okay? So how do you adjust the spacing? So one way is that you can actually just use your mouse and select left click and just drag it up and down. But if you want to be more precise with the numbers, what you can do is that you can select the section, and in this pop-up here, you go to advanced settings, and you can see there's a space above element and below element. So you can actually just adjust the figures from here. So I'll just put 30 pixels and 30 pixels. There's also a width. It's currently at 100%. So this stretches from left to right, regardless of the size of the screen. So to me, this is cool. But I just want to give you a heads up that we're now living in an age where people are browsing on different sizes of mobile phones and different sizes of desktop and laptop computers. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So the best is just leave it at width 100%. But we're not done yet though. I want you to go to advanced options. And this is the part where a lot of beginners kind of miss out, is that there's still some more margin and padding here. Right now we have just put 30 and 30. And if you put some more padding here, what's going to happen is that it will look even more far apart, and there'll be some of this like blank spacing, okay? So now there's no right or wrong here, but I'm just want to give you be aware about what is going on with this kind of like responsive page builders, because when people do it the first time, they wonder something looks a little bit odd about it. It could be the spacing, and I just want to make you aware about this additional feature, which you'll see me do it every now and then later. Okay, so this is not only applicable to the section level, this is also on a row level. And if you click on advanced settings again, you see that there's a space above and below element 0, but you notice that there's a size 15 here or something like that. That's because if you go to advanced options, there is a padding over here as well on an inner level. So you must adjust a little bit here and there, all right? And you see that this is also true for the column level. If you go to column, advanced settings, even though it says 0 here, but you click on advanced option, and okay, this is all 0, all right? So I know I've talked at length about this whole thing, and you're probably wondering, well, how would this make sense? Trust me, when you start building the page later, then you know why. Some pictures might look a little bit far away and not. So this is how you actually reduce or increase the padding and the margin. Okay? So that's how you adjust the spacing, or to be exact, the margin and padding. Now next, how to change background color, background image. Now previously, I showed you on a settings level that you can go to page background and you can change it from here if you would like to. But what happens is that this takes place on the entire page. But what if you want to add a background picture or a background color only on a certain section? So here's how you do it. You select the section, and if you see this background options, you select that, and you can change the color from here. So let's just give it a color of, yeah, let's just go with this one, all right? So I'm just going to pretend this is what I want, black color, okay? This is how you would make the change, all right? So let me just preview it for a while. So if you ever want to preview it, you can just click here and preview it, all right? So as you can see here, the page is technically live. Because I put a page set to publish, so this is the default address. Later, if you want to know how to change this address, what you got to do is that you go to dashboard. That means you go back to your WordPress admin. You go to pages. And okay, forgive me on this one. There's like a lot of pages over here. So let me just find that one that I've created. So Business Wealth Webinar, this is the page that we had built. You go to quick edit, and then you can just change the slug over here. So you can change the address, all right? Now, I'm not going to do it. I just want to make you aware about the choice over here, all right? So that's how you do it. Now, this is how you change the background picture. Let's not run topic right now. Let's go back here. And let's just say you don't want a color, but you want a picture instead. So you go to image, you click set image, and you can either choose a pictures that you have already added in, or you can click upload files and select whatever picture you want, okay? Now, I'm not going to actually do it because this is a WordPress account of mine. It's kind of matured already. I'm going to use what I already have. So I'm just going to go with this one, okay? I'm going to click insert page. Make sure that if this is going to be your main background picture, it's going to be a huge file size, maybe about, not huge file size, but big image size. Could be 1200 or 1980 pixels preferably and above, okay? So as you can see here, the way it stretches is like this way, but you can change the positioning. It could be left top. You can just play around, all right? I'm not really precise about this. I don't have a fixed rule, but I just go around. Maybe I'll just try center top, all right? Attachment, it could be fixed. That means as you scroll down, then the picture will stay as well. Repeat, it's up to you if you want a picture to repeat. And let's go to size. We can choose contain, which doesn't look good. Let's try cover. Let's try none. Okay, let's just try cover and see. All right, now if I drag this, this is kind of how it looks like. All right, so let's just pretend this is what kind of like what we want, but we'll be adding more content afterwards. Okay, so this all comes down to experimenting how you want it to look. And another one you can consider adding, but I wouldn't recommend it, is you can add a background video. Personally, I've not used this before. I've used it elsewhere and it just didn't look good, okay? And your site takes a longer time to load. So just want to let you know that is an option for this to show up. And the cool part is that you can make this show on mobile or not for bandwidth reasons, okay? Overlay. Overlay is something I might consider using, whereby let's say you want to darken this picture or put it into a different shade of color. So what I'll do is I'll click on overlay. I'll select black, and then I can reduce the opacity by dragging this slide. Okay, so let's just say this is what I want. I'll just put a 50% opacity. And there we go. We click on done. All right. So we had just successfully added a background picture, or if you prefer, a background color. All right. So right now, image will take precedence over color, and this is what it looks like right now. Okay. So let's save it again. As you can see, I'm quite paranoid about saving. Okay. Now, let's go to the next part. While I'm at it, I just want to share you a quick tip. Not sure if you know about this. Now, personally, as you start writing landing pages or sales pages that are long, you're going to realize that it takes quite some time to load those content, because when you have someone, especially nowadays, we know that 95% of the people that browse on websites nowadays are from mobile. So if you do Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube ads, people coming in, you can see that most of the time they are browsing on mobile, all right? And this is why it's imperative that your page loads as quickly as possible. But sometimes you might say, well, Edmund, I've got a lot of pictures, things to share on my sales page. The least you can do is that you can reduce the file size of the images so that they still load relatively fast and without compromising on the value of or the quality of the picture. So I recommend that you go to this website called tinypng.com, and this is where you can drop in your images for PNG or JPEG format. And what it does is that it reduces the file size of your images without reducing the quality of your image. So imagine that your website can load maybe 50% faster, or if your website gets like hundreds to thousands or tens of thousands of visitors, your website bandwidth won't get eaten up. And for the people that are browsing maybe on like 4G data or things like that, it won't be so taxing on their mobile data as well. Okay, so these are some of the little tricks that you can use to optimize your web pages without compromising on the looks and the perceived value. Okay, so I hope this helps. This is something I've been doing for years, something that I teach my clients and my team as well. All right, so I'm not going to actually do it here because all the pictures I'm using here right now have already been ran through on TinyPNG, and it's really as optimized as you can get. So next up, how to add a headline. Okay, so this is where like some of the real fun is going to really begin here, and so are all these important elements as well. So you click on the top left icon, the plus elements, and we're going to select this thing called headline. All right, so you can see there's a lot of elements that you can use here. I do recommend that you go through each and every one of them, just like put it on your website and see what they're all about. But in this video, I'm going to cover all the key elements that I use almost all the time in all my web pages, such as landing page, sales page, download page, thank you page, webinar page, you name it. All right, so you click on headline and you drag it here. All right, pen to column, so we drag it here, and there we go. So right now you might notice it's hard to read because it's a black text over a dark background, and this is where you can write your headline. Now, just to give you another advice, personally, I like to write all my content on my sales pages or my landing pages on a notepad like this. So this is so I don't waste my time writing manually on the page builder, because when you start writing and backspacing, you're going to realize that it takes a while to load and it wastes time, so it's not effective. So I like to write all my content on a notepad like this, which is rather fast. There's almost no loading time, and I just copy and paste the content. So let's just say I'm going to go with this one. All right, I just copy, and then I'll select this, and then I'm going to paste it. All right. So now it's hard to read. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to change the color. So let's start off with learning the basics. All right, you go to text options. You can see this is the font family I had chosen before able, and I'm going to leave it at that. Next one, the size, 24. Okay, I'm going to leave this alone as well, because this, to me, this is a pre-headline. It's not a real headline just yet. Line height, 1.5. Now, here's the thing though, as you start writing longer headlines where it goes to like 2 lines or 3 lines, you're going to realize that there's going to be a spacing oddity where it looks a little bit far apart. So normally I like to put line height about 1.3 or 1.2, somewhere there, all right, for headlines. And this is important because while it might look okay on a desktop, it might look a little bit weird in mobile. So I also advise that you do check your mobile phone every now and then to preview the website. So I'm not going to do this here right now because obviously you can't see my mobile phone, but I'm just going to advise you that as you edit your page, or once you're done editing the entire page, don't just preview your website on desktop, preview it on mobile as well. So keep your phone next to you and see it on both sides, all right? So size 24, styling. Okay, this is very important, okay? There are basically 1 to 6 headlines you can choose from. It's better to format it as it is. So I'm quite particular about it. So it's like kind of like using Microsoft Word. I'm going to call this headline 2, all right? So to me, headline 1 is the biggest font. Headline 2 is the second biggest, then followed by headline 3 and 4 and so on. But my personal practice is that I normally use just headline 1 and 2 just to keep things very neat. And it's been the way I've been doing it for years, all right? Font style, you can make it bold. You can make it italic. It's totally up to you. You can transform the text to uppercase or capitalize. So this means camel case. You can decorate the text, but normally I leave this alone. All right. Next, let's go to color options. So this way you can change the color. So I want to make this white right now. Okay, cool. It's this is what it is. If you want to do a background highlight, you can just go to background and you can change it as so. So this is kind of like what it looks like right now. Okay, if you want to highlight the entire headline, this is how you do it. But there's no need for me to do this, so I'm just gonna not do it and switch it to off like this. Okay, so this is how you disable the color of the background. All right, you just switch the opacity to off like this. All right, let's go back text color, and this is what we want. All right, so this is how we do the headline. Okay, so we need to add in the main headline. So this is just a pre-headline. So what you can do is that, I tell you what, I'm just going to do this again so that we get enough practice. We click on elements, we go to headline, we drag it to underneath, all right? So you can see here that as I hold my mouse, there's this blue highlight that says above the headline or below the headline or below the row. So it allows you to do an intricate placing. Again, if you're new to this, you might not realize the difference just yet, but as you start doing this more, you will see why this is very important, okay? So I want this directly below the headline. There we go, all right? So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to copy and paste the headline that I have already written, which is here, and I'm going to paste it like so, copy and paste, all right? Control V, Control C, all right? Now, this is supposed to be the main headline, so the size has got to be bigger. So I go to text options, go to size. I'm going to make this maybe size 36. Now, do you notice that the width, the height between the lines is kind of wide right now? So I'm going to make this 1.3, and it looks a bit more respectable. Okay, now let's go to styling. I want this to be headline 1, and then let's go to color. Let's give it another color. Let's just go for orange. All right, so let's just go with orange here. Whoops. All right, so you can see that I'm kind of like trying to rebuild what I've created before. Okay, so now you might notice that this is the headline, and sometimes personally I don't like seeing just like one word down here. So either A, I can increase the overall size of this font of this headline, which I don't want to, or I can adjust the width of this row. So here's how to do it, okay? You select this on a row level. How you know you select this? Because there's row up here. You select it on a row level, and you go to this advanced settings, and you can adjust the width. So by default, it's 1140 pixels. Normally for my websites, I like to make it 960. All right. Now this is just my personal preference, but I want to let you know that this is possible. You can make it a little bit narrow if you want, but this is too narrow, okay? So I normally like to put it as 960. That's just me, all right? And yeah. So this is kind of like what it looks like right now. Now you might notice there's a little bit of spacing between the pre-headline and the this main headline. Now if you want to adjust the spacings in between, what you can do is you select this headline, click on advanced settings, and you see the space below element by default is 12. All right. So if you go to advanced settings, it's about 12 as well. Okay. So if you want to adjust it, you can reduce it to 0, or I think we can just leave it as 12. I think the spacing is kind of good enough, all right? But I just want to let you know that this is how you can adjust the spacings, whether you want to increase or decrease it. Okay, if you want to decrease it, you can make it down to 0, okay? So this is how you add the headline and the, basically the headline, all right? Now, if you want to see if there are any other effects you can actually add, The default alignment is in the middle. You can actually change it to left, to right, or even justified. That's okay, but center is still the best for headlines. Next, you can go to text shadow. Now this is only for headlines, right? You can go to text shadow. You can choose any preset you want. So let's just try this one and see. All right. Okay, I think this looks good. And you can go to styling. You can change the angle. You can change the color. You can even change the distance as well. But I think this is good enough. All right. So I just want to show you what is possible when you do this kind of things. And if you want to ever move any element around, okay, not just headlines, but any element around, you click it, select this move element, hold on to it, and you can actually drag and drop it around like so. Okay, and I'll drop it here, and there we go. All right. Now, if you don't want to create the element again and again, what you can do is you can click on clone element, and yes, you have a copy of it. All right. And if you don't want this, you can click on delete element, and we're done. So this is not only for headlines, this is true for all the elements as well. Okay. So yeah, we covered quite a bit on how to add a headline. All right. So we covered this. Now let's talk about how to add the text. So I'm going to do something interesting here. I'm going to add a new section. So we're going to get quite some practice from everything we have learned so far. I'm going to add a new section, and I'm going to choose one column again. All right. So I'm going to purposely leave this as a white background, and later you'll see that this page will make a lot more sense. All right. So let's do some basic settings right now. We go to advanced settings, space above and below element. I like to use 30 and 30. I think this is a respectable size. The spacing. Okay, let's just go to advanced options to be sure. Everything's fine. Now, I don't really play with any of this, but maybe on a more advanced level, you can start looking into a few things like sticky feature, animation, delay, and things like that. But I'll have you know that even I rarely visit this at all. Okay, maybe like, I think only like a couple times ever. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to select the row level, and we're going to keep things congruent. So just now, we had selected a width of 960 pixels. So select advanced settings, width 960. So I want to keep it all the same. So you don't have one row that's wider than the other. All right, I like to keep things as uniform as possible. And then there's a column here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to show you how to add text. All right, you click on add elements. Let's look for paragraph. So the word here is paragraph. All right, let's select paragraph, and we click to drag it to append to column. So you can write anything you want here. I'm just going to take some content over here right now. Okay. So let's just say this is the content I want. Okay, I'm just making this up by the way, but I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. All right. Now, sometimes when you paste content in, there's always going to be a formatting matter, which is a small issue like this spacing. Just select your cursor here, and backspace and backspace and backspace. All right. So this is how you kind of do it. And if you want to change the size, you can go here and change it here if you want to. But if you ever want to change on a uniform level, again, like I said, you go back to the global settings here, the settings. You go to body typography, and you can change it here as well. So if you actually increase this, and there you go. Do you notice the difference here right now? Okay, so now you know why I'm quite paranoid about this kind of things, right? So this is why you want to do it on a global level. Okay, so let's just say this is my content over here, and yeah, all right. Now, so this is how you add text. If you want to change the color, you go to this color options as usual. The default text is black. You can put it any color you want, like green, and whatsoever. You want to put background, you can as well, but I don't think this is a good idea. Okay, don't. I've not actually done this because it doesn't make sense. But there you go. All right. So I'm going to click undo, undo, and undo. Yeah, so there's only a maximum number of tries I can undo this. All right. So I don't like this green color. I'm going to switch it back to the black text. So I'm going to get back that black color code for a while. Okay. And change it over here. And there we go. All right. So this is how you change colors. Now, you might wonder, how do I change colors for a certain words, all right? So let's just say I'm going to select 3 years. You can select this font options. You can make it bold, you can underline, you can italic it, you can even cross it. Okay, so these are just some of the things you can do. If you want to change the color, you go to text color, and we can give it another color. So I'm just going to give it red for now. All right. So you see that this is red. I'm going to make this bold. Yeah, that's just an example. Okay. So if you ever want to select certain words to be bold, italic, or crossover, you can do that as well. All right, on the text by selecting only a particular text. If you want to use a background color, you can as well, only for certain words that you would like to highlight. Okay, so yeah, this is actually a very fun thing to do, and you can actually build a career out of this, building pages for other people. Hope you're learning a lot so far, yeah? Okay, so over here, there's also a line height. All right, if you click on this, you go to size, there's a line height of 1.5. Unlike headlines, this actually works just fine. All right, I will normally leave this alone, but like I said, the only way to be sure is that you want to check on your phone to make sure everything looks fine. And spacing, if you want your words to be a little bit apart or less apart, you can actually adjust this, but normally I would leave this alone as well. All right, so I just again draw your attention to some of the features that you can use to spice up your landing pages, your sales pages, and things like that. All right, so let's cover up the next part as well. All right, so we covered about text. Now, how to add image. All right, so images, as you know, this is a very important part about building a website or building a web page. You go back to elements at the top left, click on image, and then you drag it in. All right, so you can put it above the text, you can put it below the text, you can even put it at the side here as well. All right, so I'm just going to put one of my pictures here. Again, you can click on upload files, upload new pictures, or if you already uploaded them before, we can just put it here as well. So I'm going to take this one. Yeah, handsome devil. Or maybe I'll just go with this one. Yeah, I'll go with this one. All right, so let's just say I want this picture, and I'm going to click insert into page. All right, so you can see here, there's a picture of me in this column here right now, but this is a little bit too huge. All right, it's too big. So what you can do is that you can reduce the size by clicking on this, then click on image options, and you can reduce the width. All right, so I drop this and to something a little bit more respectable. Let's just try let's just try 300. All right, and yeah, all right. Now if you want to adjust the width, because this is another column, you can actually drag this. All right, take your mouse and drag it to maybe like this. All right, so again, this is just an example. This is not a serious work, but there you go. Now, one thing a lot of beginners don't realize is that normally when people hover their mouse over, the alternate text will show up. So the name of the file will show up like this, Edmund over here. All right, sometimes it's not really nice, so what you can do is that you can click on this image, go to image options, and you can remove the title. All right, you can remove it so nothing will show up, but just maybe save this for a while. And yes, you notice that when I put my mouse here, the word doesn't show anymore. But if you want something to still show up, maybe you can just write something like meet Edmund Low or whatever you want to write. Then when you hover your mouse over, at least it's not the name of the file. All right, this looks like it makes more sense. Okay, so me personally, I might put in a title here, I might not put in, but right now I'm just going to put none at all, and I think that's fine. All right, now you can go to color options, which I kind of leave that alone. If you want to add borders, you can as well, but I'm not going to do it for this particular image. You can align the image left, center, or middle. It's totally up to you. You want to make this clickable, you can just put this link icon, and maybe I'll just put in just a website. Okay, just put it edmundlow.com. Open in the same frame or a new tab is up to you, but I'll just put it same frame for now. No follow, you can leave it alone. All right, so let's just click save, and let me just go preview the page right now. All right, let's see how far we've done this. So as you can see here, this is like kind of like the work we have done so far, which is pretty good. Okay, hope you're learning a lot so far. And you might notice that if I hover my mouse here, or if you're using a mobile phone, if I click on this picture, then I'll go to the link that I had just put in. All right, so this is my own homepage, also built on OptimizePress, and that's how it works. Right now, if you don't want this to be linkable, you go back here, click on image, click on link options, remove this. All right, remove it, and there we're done. All right, now again, just like most other elements, you can move this around, Okay. Hover state, yeah, I don't really use that, so you can ignore that. You can clone this, so there's a copy of it, and if you don't want it, you can delete it as well, all right? And not forgetting, in the advanced settings, you can put a space above and below. Normally, I like to put a space below like 12, because normally in a mobile responsive website, the way the web page is normally viewed is that the left column will be viewed first, followed by the right. So if I didn't put any spacing down here, the words "Hey Edmund" over here will be very close to this picture up here. So this is why I always emphasize on the importance of viewing your website on mobile after you are done, because sometimes just because your website looks nice on the desktop doesn't mean it will reflect the same way on a mobile phone, all right? And like I said, majority of the traffic nowadays is coming from mobile, so you need to make sure it's mobile responsive. Okay, hope this makes sense, and let's move on. So I've shown you how to add your image, I've shown you how to do the alternate text, and the next one we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to add a video, all right? Or specifically a video that you may have uploaded on YouTube and you just want to link it over. So this is a very simple one. If you know how to add an image, you can definitely add a YouTube video, all right? So you click on the top left, I guess you know the drill, okay? You will select this thing called video, right? Not video thumbnail, but video, okay? Let's select video and drag it to, I'm going to drag it to up here, all right? Below this particular headline, and so by default they'll show you this placeholder video, which is not what we want. Obviously, we'll click on video settings, and you can choose the source of the video. It could be on YouTube, Vimeo, Wistia, or even a custom video as well. But me personally, I put my videos on YouTube, so I'm just going to quickly go to my YouTube account. I'm just going to put in one of the videos that I have really quickly. Let me just do it real quick. So again, this is just an example, all right? I'm not going to actually play this. You only need to take the actual link of the video. You don't have to take the whole playlist. If you're not sure, you can just go down to share and get this address, all right? Just take this YouTube link, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. There we go. And right-click and paste the address over here, okay? So aspect ratio, all this, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to click out for a while, and you can see that the video preview is already here. But this is a little bit too big, so you can adjust however you want. Right now, the width is 100%. That means no matter how big or small the screen is, it's going to cover ear to ear within the confines of this row. So I don't quite want that, so I'm going to go to pixels, change the pixel. Maybe I'll just put this as 640, and I think this is acceptable, all right? So you can adjust the size anyhow you want. I'm going to go with 640, so this looks nice. You can go to advanced settings. If you want this to autoplay, you can. But normally in mobile phones, you don't really need the autoplay. So it's totally up to you. You want to have controls, it'll be here as well. It's totally up to you, but I'm going to leave this alone right now, okay? So yeah, that's it. You can put an image overlay if you want. You can put borders around it. It's, again, up to you. But again, these are all features that I've explained time and again since just now. So it's all the same. You can make copies of it. You can delete it. You can adjust the space below the video. So right now it's 0. I'm just going to put 12. All right. Let there be a little bit of spacing and save it. And yeah, you might notice that this page is starting to take shape already. All right. So even though I'm just doing a test building up this page, but you can see it kind of looks nice already, all right? Okay, next, let's talk about adding a button. Okay, so how do we add a button? So normally when it comes to landing pages or sales pages, you definitely need to have a button, because there's no point having a nice website or a nice web page, but you don't have a call to action. So here's how you add a button. At the top left, I'm going to show you how to add a button. So you click on this thing called button and drag it here, all right? I'm going to put it below this video, so I drag it below the video. And by default, it's just called default text button. So you're being offered a selection of buttons that you can just choose preset, so you can choose any one of them and edit from there, all right? So I'm just going to go with this green button. There's no right or wrong, by the way. You can choose orange buttons, yellow buttons. Those are like proven colors to convert. But I like to use green sometimes because it might stand out sometimes in certain types of layout, all right? So it's totally up to you. And you can type in the words here. I'm just going to put register now, all right? So I'm going to go to button settings, and you can adjust the width of the button. So normally I like to put it either 80% or 100%. Okay, so I put 80% so it doesn't stretch ear to ear. Button size can be up to you, can be middle or medium or large. I'll just go with medium right now. Icon, you can put an icon if you would like to. Just click visible, toggle it up. By default, this looks good already, but I just want you to know that there are many types of icons that you can choose from. You can even type some keywords that help you search a little bit faster. So let's just say I'm going to just type the word arrow, and all these arrows appear. I'm going to just type the word hen, and there we go, all right? Or sign up, all right? Sign, okay? But I'm just going to go with arrow right now, and I think this is kind of good enough already, okay? So I'm going to go with minimal, right? You can even adjust the size of the icon. I'm going to leave it as default. You can change the color of the icon if you want over here. Sorry about that. Let me go back there. Icon, you can change the color here, which I don't agree to at the moment, but I just want to let you know what's possible. You can even add a subtext down here as well and write something down here, which I don't need to right now. So again, this is another element that is quite common to use, but when people click on this button, something needs to happen, all right? So normally you either send them to another web page, which you can put it over here. You can put it a buy button, or you can put this into an pop-up overlay, which I'm not going to cover right now. I'll cover that in a while, okay? Just want to show you what's possible. You type in the address or the link to the next page, all right? So this is how you do it. Pop-up overlay, I'll cover that in a short while, all right? So yes, this is how you create a button, okay? You can change the color, you can change the layout. Okay, changing the color is quite simple. You go to color options, you can change it from here, and you can even change color of the text here as well, all right? But I think this is a color that I like. I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, and yes, the next thing we have to do is add an overlay button. Now, to the uninitiated, an overlay button basically means this. You probably have seen this before, all right? I'll give you an example. So let's say this landing page here, and if you click on Get Instant Access, you see that this pop-up will show up, all right? So this is what we call an overlay pop-up, all right? So how do we create this is quite simply this way, all right? Let me show you how to do it. The first thing you got to do is that at the top left, you will see this icon here called Create New Overlay, all right? Click on that, and this is what will show up when the overlay pop-up is clicked on, all right? So let's give it a name. By default, it's called Overlay 1, so I'm just going to call it Registration Overlay, all right? You can call it any name you want. You can adjust the size. It's totally up to you. The margins up or down, I'm going to leave it by default. I think this size is kind of good already. And page overlay color. So you might notice the colors in the background kind of dim down a little bit, which is good. Background color it's pigeon gray, which is good enough. So yeah, it's kind of good already. So I'm liking this. All right. So here you can, just like how you edit the web page on OptimizePress, this is all the same thing. All right. So register your spot now. Enter your details below to get instant access to Business Wealth webinar. All right. So yeah, this is how you do it. This is just a dummy opt-in page, opt-in form. It doesn't work, but I'll cover this later, all right? So you can add anything you want over here. You can add elements by going to the top left and add anything you want here. So this is how an overlay will look like. So once you're done, you can click on Close Pop-Up Editor. And then if you want this button to work, you click on this, click on Link Options, you click on Action, Show Pop-Up Overlay, and choose Registration Overlay. That's it. Let's save, and then let's see how it looks like. Okay, so what's going to happen is when I click on this, then this overlay pop-up will show up. So this should look familiar to you, yes? All right, so this is how a pop-up overlay works in OptimizePress. And that's a really useful thing because if you look at landing pages nowadays, sign-up pages nowadays, especially on mobile, when they click on something, rather than you go to a new page, it just pops up, all right? And that's pretty cool. Now, next part, how to add custom HTML. Now, this might seem a little bit advanced, but I think you need to know this because sometimes when it comes to forms, whether it's a Aweber form, whether it's a buy button or something like that, you need to be able to copy and paste those codes. So here's how you do it, all right? So there's this thing called custom HTML. So at the top left, I'm going to select this thing called custom HTML, okay? I'm going to click it and I'm just going to drag it maybe down here, all right? And this is where you put in the codes. Now, I'm not a HTML expert or anything like that, but sometimes you just can't avoid pasting codes. So what you do, I'm just going to paste a random code that I have, by the way. It's a buy button, and I'm just going to paste it here, okay? So once it's there, if I click save and preview it, you will see that the actual code will show up, all right? So I know it's not a pretty slide, but I just want to demonstrate to you what it looks like when you paste a code, okay? And if you don't want the thing to appear at the side, what you can do is that you can try to make it appear in the center, but that's really up to the code. Or alternatively, you can just put this tag called center in tag, and at the end of the code, in tag /center, all right? So this is how you actually align the thing to the middle, all right? So I just saved it. I'm gonna reload this and show you now that the thing is in the center, all right? So yeah, that's how you do it. And you can also put this into the overlay pop-up. So if you want to edit that again, you go to the top, click edit registration overlay, which is what I just created. And yes, this is where you can put in the codes or the opt-in form. So if you're using an autoresponder like Aweber, you would have integrated it by now, and you can just add in this opt-in form, all right? So you go to integration options, click edit integration, and you can start adding whatever you want here, all right? Now, I'm not going to actually show you how to do this because everyone uses a different autoresponder, and even if it's not listed here, you can always just add the opt-in codes, opt-in form codes over here, all right? So I'm just going to leave this alone right now. I'm not going to cover that because I respect that everyone uses a different kind of opt-in form or something like that, all right? So yes, but I just want you to know that this is how you add in an opt-in form code or any custom HTML code, okay? So we covered that, and then I'm going to show you how to create a Johnson box. So what is a Johnson box? Now, you've probably seen it before. If you've ever seen any boxes with the dotted lines around it, that is called a Johnson box. So here's how you create a Johnson box within the confines of OptimizePress. So you can select the on a column level or on a row level. So let's just say I select this column, all right? And I'll select borders and shadows. So how do I do it is that I will select any of this dash or dotted lines here. I'll just select the dash, and you can see that there's a default weight of 1. Maybe I just put 3 and see what happens. And if I click away, and there you go. Do you notice that there is a dotted box around this column? So that's how you create a Johnson box. But of course, it's a little bit too close right now, especially if you look at the words, it's too close. So how do you adjust the width? Is you click on column, all right, make sure it's a column. Go to advanced settings, go to advanced options, and you notice that the margin and padding is all 0 right now. That is very, very close. So maybe let's just try 15 and see what happens, all right? Okay, 15, 15. Okay, there's a spacing here. Let's go with 15 at the sides and 15 at the side, okay? So now you see that there's a bit of spacing in between, and it doesn't look so cramped up anymore, all right? So this is how you create a Johnson box. And again, it goes to column, borders. You can adjust the bold. If you put 10, okay, it's going to be really fat, so that doesn't look good. You should make it light. Maybe I think 2 is a good one, all right? So there we go, okay? If you want to change the color of the border, you just click on this one. Maybe I just put red, for example, and there we go. All right. Now I'm not going to actually do it because I think that's not a nice color. I'll just stick with black. All right. So normally I'm quite particular about choosing the color codes. It should be the exact code of the what you call the black color code. So I'm going to get back here. I'm going to select this. I'm going to paste it back here. All right. So yeah, I'm just a little bit obsessed with the details here. So it's got to be the same shade of black. All right. And yeah, this is how you create a Johnson box. Not difficult, yeah? Easy. All right. So we're actually almost done. And there's a lot of things you can still do with OptimizePress 3, and I'm just scratching the surface even after all this, all right? And you know what? I'm just going to show you a couple more things, and then that will be the end of this tutorial, and you can start playing with OptimizePress 3, all right? So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create icons, which is already built into OptimizePress 3, all right? So for the purpose of this exercise, I tell you I'm going to create another section. We're going to make this a little bit different, okay? So again, I'm going to choose one column layout, or even if I want to choose 3, that's totally fine. I'm going to just choose 1 right now, okay? So one column layout, I want this to be different from this one, so I'm going to choose a slightly different background color, okay? This one will be a light gray, okay, light gray. And yeah, I'm basically showing you what we have just learned and how we can start applying all of this. And if you don't like the spacing here, you can always adjust the spacing around here as well. It's totally up to you. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Let's go to advanced options. Let's make this 30 and 30 again. Space above and below the element. Okay. And let's go to row. Advanced settings. I'm going to change the width to 960 again to just be congruent, so we don't have rows that are too wide and too narrow. Okay. And if you go to the top left right now, you can see that there's this thing called icons, and you can actually just drag and drop here. All right. You can put any icon that you want. Shape star. You can change the color. Okay. So you can even change the size as well. All right. So there you go. Now, if you want to drag this into more, what you can do is that you can actually clone the columns. So I'm going to clone it again. So now we have 3 columns. All right, all indicating the icons here. All right. Now, sometimes you might want to show icons because you know, you want to show some features, some benefits. So for example, this is using the icon feature, all right? This is not new images, it's just built into OptimizePress, all right? So this is how you do it. And I think last but not least, I'll just show you one more thing, all right? And that's how to create a countdown timer. So this creates some good scarcity. Like for example, when I run live seminars or webinars, the countdown timer is legit. So what I do is that I'll go to countdown timer. Okay, I know there's 3 types over here, but countdown timer will work enough, all right? And maybe I'll just put it at the top here, okay? And yeah, you can choose the design of the timer. I'll just go with this one, all right? So it's easier to read. You can choose the coming date, so I'm just going to put 5th May, 8 o'clock. So this one normally goes by local time, by the way. So wherever you're at right now, that's your local time, or the time zone is over here, plus you'll convert back to this one, right? But normally when you write this, it's normally in your local time, right? And by the time the timer runs down, you can decide on what you want to do. You can either hide it, you can show text, or you can just leave it alone, or redirect to another website. But right now, I'm just going to put hide timer, okay? And you can change the colors if you want to. You can align this, and since this is too close to the pre-headline, I'm going to go to settings. Space below element, I'm just going to put 12 pixels, all right? And yeah, there you go. Now let's preview it for the last time. And let's just see roughly how it looks like, okay? So yeah, there you go. How is it like for being able to use OptimizePress 3 and build a page like a guru, okay? As you can see here, I didn't learn any HTML stuff whatsoever. Okay, that one doesn't count just now. That was just me copying and pasting a code that I already have. And this icons here, okay, I know it doesn't make sense right now, but I just want to demonstrate to you the versatility of this page builder and why I like using it after so many years. They're always improving, and there'll always be new features and updates coming up, okay? So that's how I use it to build pages like this, and more, okay? So, of course, there are other unexplored features right now. Like if I take a quick look, maybe there's like ratings, spacing, bullet blocks, which is a common one as well, testimonials, social sharing and all that, FAQ. Now, I'm not going to cover all this because this seems to be leaning more towards a slightly more advanced way. But when I say advanced, don't be intimidated. Advanced doesn't mean that it's really, really hard to figure out. It's more like I want you to get the basics down. And once you know how to add all of this, then the rest of all this will be, you know, self-explanatory and easy to figure out, okay? So I hope you've learned a lot from this training. And wow, we spent a lot of time doing this, all right? I like to think that currently this is probably the only feature length training on OptimizePress that I've done so far. There might be more like this next time, but as of the time of this video, I've not seen anyone do it, okay? I think most importantly, I want to see that this helps you learn how to use OptimizePress in the most effective way possible, and be able to build nice pages. And one last advice, again, after you build a page like this, always preview your website on your mobile phone. Don't use those mobile viewers on a desktop, okay? It's not really 100% accurate. Always use your phone, all right? Check it out, and if there's anything that needs to be adjusted, or maybe like the line height, some pictures may not look correct, then you adjust accordingly, okay? So my name is Edmund. Thanks for watching. Hope you've learned a lot, and you take care, all right? Speak soon.